Hey y'all, it's Alma with the Cat's Pajamas, and today I want to show you how to create this Shadowbox card using our Shadowbox cuttable. I'm going to start by creating the background of this card using watercolors. First, I swipe the paper all over with water. This ensures that the paint will spread and blend. I'll start with the lightest color and swipe over the paper horizontally. Now the next lightest color, and I'll continue to swipe over the paper. I'll continue to add color going from lighter to darker each time and keep the swipes horizontal. If you'll notice, I've added water to the watercolor so I get darker colors and I don't need to add more water to the paper. There are a lot of different ways to do water, but this is one of my favorites. Now I want to blend the swipes a little bit, so I'll add water to the brush and pat slightly to blend. For this card, I want a slightly mottled look. So as a finishing touch, I'm going to spatter the paper with water. This looks pretty good for now. I'll let this dry slightly and I'll add more color if I need it, and I'll re-splatter with water. For the seaweed, I'll repeat this same technique in green. Now while these pieces are drying, I'll work on the rest of the card. I've cut the Shadowbox cuttable base out of white, the frame out of blue, and the front mat of this green paper. If you're using the silhouette to cut these, you'll see that the file cuts a dotted line. Now if you're using SVG files, like I did, to cut the cuttable, you'll notice that your cutting machine cuts notches where the score lines should be. Just score from notch to notch on the two center sets of notches, then turn over and score notch to notch on the two outer sets of notches. And then repeat on the back base. Score from notch to notch on the inner two sets of notches, turn the card over, and then score notch to notch on the two outer set of notches. Adhere the front frame to the front base. I'm using glue that dries clear. Next, I'll use the Sing from the Bunnies at Sea stamp set and stamp the sentiment using Marvy turquoise. Now that the watercolor pieces are dry, I've cut the blue paper to the same width as the interior of the Shadowbox card. I want to use the Beaches die to cut the top of the blue paper, so I'll addition where the frame of the cuttable will go. I think this works pretty good. So now I'll cut the paper. Now for the seaweed. I'll use the heart swirl to cut the green pattern paper. I like the green, but I would think I want it to pop a little bit more against the blue background. So I'll use my stylus and Marvy turquoise to sponge around the edges. That looks pretty good. Now let's assemble the card. I've already placed strong adhesive on the back face of the cards on the outer columns only. Foam tape on the back of the watercolor paper will add dimension and keep the paper from buckling. Now I've stamped and colored the bunny from the Bunnies at Sea stamp set, and rather than sticking him to the top of the watercolor paper, I'm going to stick him to the side of the card to give him a little bit of movement. You'll see what I mean a little bit later on. But first let's fold the card. Fold the interior score lines into the center of the card, and then crease well. Now fold the outer score line back toward the outer edge and crease. And then open the folds up. Now you're going to do the same on the front of the card. For the front panel, with the front up, fold back along the interior score line into a mountain fold. Do that on the other side. Then fold the outer score lines back toward the outer edge and crease well. And then open the folds up. Now for the bunny. Decide where I want it and remove the adhesive backing from the base and attach the bunny to the adhesive. Now place the front of the card, lining up the edges to the base of the card carefully. Well, I wasn't so careful when I lined up the bases, so I trimmed off some of the edges from the top and bottom. But that's okay. It'll give me some space to overhang the sentiment and still fit in a window. So let's decorate. I think we should add some bubbles. Rhinestones are perfect. And I think this little rabbit needs some friends. So I've stamped and colored the fish from the Bunnies at Sea stamp set and cut them out using my Scan and Cut. I just love that machine. Little bits of foam tape on the back of the fishes for a little pop. And now for the seaweed. I'll attach this with a little bit of glue. And now the sentiment. I think I'm going to cut the bottom into a little flag. Like that. And I'll attach it with a little bit of foam tape. Kind of looks like the bunny is swimming a little bit, don't you think, when you squish the sides together? Super cute. Now a little bit of twine tied into a bow and attached with some glue. Give the finishing touch. Looks kind of nautical, don't you think? Well, that's it. I hope you give this Shadowbox Cutable a try. You can find the stamps, dies, and Cutable at the Cat's Pajamas. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have a great day.